We're live. Hello, friends, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Today, we're going to be talking about depression and the stigma surrounding it. I was going to talk about sleep, but I saw something on the news about how right now, depression is really, really high. And I thought, well, maybe there's some of my friends, you guys, that might need to talk about it. It's really, really and high. The stigma. And I thought, well, maybe there's some of my friends. That's me. And the stigma surrounding depression. And I have some articles, of course, like I always do. But so anyway, part of depression is brain fog. So excuse me for the brain fog. There will be coughing in this video. Hi, Joe. How are you doing? I am not a doctor, a therapist, a other type of mental health professional. I am a lady who has had trouble with depression in my life, and I do take medication for that. My sister would probably say, Crystal, that's too much information. But for the purposes of this live today, I thought it would be appropriate. So how are you doing today, Joe? And how is your puppy? I have a little coffee, a little water, took some cough syrup. So hopefully we won't have the same situation as last week. I was coughing and I could not it just wouldn't stop. I think I coughed through the whole live almost. So hopefully that is not what we're going to have today. All right. So a couple of the articles that I forgot to do this. Stigma around depression types and reducing the stigma is one of the articles. The other one is major depressive disorder dealing with the stigma. Now, a lot of this was about the stigma, but it's also about depression. So if you have anything, I got to negative 18 last night. I can't believe it. I've actually never seen that temperature myself, but he's fine. He finally went potty in the snow. You got 10 inches of snow. I can't believe that. Tennessee, right? I have about 2 or 3, and we're supposed to get 2 or 3 Thursday and Friday. But negative 18 down there? I can't even believe it. Oi. And yeah, I'm so sorry for Mr. Buddy. Oh man, just his little paws. I've been seeing them, people put the shoes on, but they also make this paw pad wax. Because my dog, when he was here, he's passed away, would not wear those shoes. And he was a Chihuahua. So you would think he'd want the little shoes on because his little feetsies would get cold. But he would not wear them. And I couldn't figure out what. He would just run outside, pee, and run back in. And he was he was potty trained really well. He was a good boy. But he would not wear those. But I did see that and I was like, okay, so if there are people who have dogs that don't want to wear those shoes, and I think most dogs don't like those shoes. I tried to put them on my Lily and she was kind of a little crazy. I used the paw wax type. Yeah, that's what I would think that would work better. At least that would keep his little paws from cracking and getting salt into him and stuff like that. And I know you're a great pet owner. You use that paw safe stuff like we do. Even though we barely have a sidewalk, we still use the paw safe stuff, even though we don't have a puppy anymore, because it's just better. We have dogs in the neighborhood. So, yeah. So, but yeah, their little paws. I mean, that's like us going outside barefoot. So, how are you feeling, Joe? How is the mental health with this cold, unseasonably, very, very cold where you're at? I didn't know you guys could get to negative 18. I didn't know that because it goes, is Kentucky below Tennessee or Tennessee below Kentucky? I'm so bad at maps, but it doesn't usually, and it's unusual for you guys to get snow, isn't it? Except I think you had a big storm just a few years ago as well. So it's that crazy not nor'eastern, it's a crazy weather pattern that's hitting the South worse than it's hitting us. So, yeah. So today we're going to talk about depression and its stigmas. I have a third article. Let me load it up here. It's called, it's from psychiatry.org, Stigma, Prejudice, and Discrimination Against People with Mental Illness. Now that one sounded interesting to me as well. And again, I haven't read any of them. The weather's got, oh yes, which is messing with, yes. All the weather is very strange to us in Tennessee. I know, 18 below and 10 inches of snow. It sounds like you live in Canada, right? I did start incorporating, because the hurting. Yeah, I did start incorporating on my hands. I started using the Voltaren, and I'm using Icy Hot on my knees, and it's working. I'm just using it to get rid of it, and then I'm going to put the Voltaren on my knees as well. And you know what that is. So yeah, I was having difficulty sleeping. My hands just, and I didn't realize that's what it was, but once I used the Voltaren, I was actually able to get a good night of sleep. So it was bothering me. And no sleep messes with your mental health as well. So yeah. So when I saw the article on the news, I was like, January is a difficult month for me. And January is a difficult month for me. Yes, that Voltaren gel is so good. It's so I don't have to take the aspirin. I can just put it right where it hurts. And it lasts. Like if I use it, then the next day I have less swelling in my hands all day. So the CBD works better because I use the Voltaren at nighttime. So yeah, a godsend. Both of those together. Oh man, yeah. I saw on the news how it was difficult for people right now, and it just touched me. It just touched my heart. I think I was feeling it is what it was. So I decided to change the topic from sleep to depression, and just I figured, if I'm having issues, so are some of my friends, and maybe you might just need to listen about it, or you might need to talk about it. And I actually put it up on Instagram, which I do not do very often because I know I get more traffic there. But I thought there may be somebody who's never been here today that might need this. So, yeah. So hopefully we'll have a good chat and we'll get some more friends in. If not, I can just talk to you, Joe, because I did, when you put the Instagram thing up and I tagged Miss Jamie because she's been real sick too. But she's supposed to go into the hospital, and I'm not sure when. And my depression is worse than normal. I assume it's a lot seasonable, but life is hard. Yes. Life is hard most times, right? Yeah. Yeah. I put on my happy shirt. I got this from my bestie, Shirley. Have I ever said her name on here? Hope she doesn't mind. I got this from her for Christmas, and it makes me happy with all the bright colors and stuff. To make me feel better, I took my medicine. I took my cough medicine. My sinuses are crazy right now. Hey, Nay, how are you? So we got the weather is against us. We got sickness. And like I said, mine's just sinuses. So it's not a cold. It's not the flu. It's nothing like that. It's not COVID. It's none of those things. It's just the weather and the time of year. I did put my air cleaner on in here today, so I'm hoping that that'll help as well. How are you doing today, Nay? How are you doing? Coffee helps my mood as well. I started trying to drink it a little earlier in the daytime. Oh yes, the weather yes, it's so just. And I have been doing a little picking. That's my little heart sticker. Got little hearts, and the thing about drinking all the water is that in the middle of the live, I had to use the restroom. Come on. Sorry, you guys. But yeah, I really need to clean this room. I think the weather reminds me of how limited I am physically, which depresses me. We have snow and ice, so I can't do anything and aches in my legs. Yes. I am. I put the air cleaner on. I've been in my living room all morning. No problems. So I'm going to have to leave this run all week. I just put it in here last night. I thought if I let it run all night, but my room it needs to be cleaned. So there's a lot of dust in here. And along with the snow and ice, I'm afraid to go out. I do have my cane, but I don't want to be slipping and falling either. I already got some aches and pains. I do not want any more. I am okay. I was fine in the living room. It's got to be the dust in here. Yeah. So all week I have been indoors. I took my friend to her doctor appointment yesterday. She had the shoulder surgery, and it went really well. I missed that one Wellness Wednesday because I took her. Her surgery was on Wednesday, so she's doing really well. Had a little checkup. I think they took some stitches out, and so we're planning on doing a little shopping maybe next week if she can, if she's okay to walk around, And so that's what I did Tuesday when I actually got out. So today I'm staying in all day. Tomorrow my cousin has a colonoscopy, and I'm taking her for that. So just even though it's cold, getting out and helping family is helping me. And I know we all cannot do that. I know that. So I understand, Joe, when you say it reminds you of how limited you are. It does, because even just opening a can, it's better now that I'm using the Voltaren, but I wasn't at first. So I was trying to make soup or something, and I had to use my left hand because I'm right-handed. And man, it was crazy. I know. She's having some serious issues, so she does. I was able to do, and I don't know if you're eligible for it, that a Cologuard. It's a little bit yucky, but you just do it at your house and you send it in the mail. But everybody's not eligible for that, especially if you have a history of any type of colon cancer and things like that. But I had insurance through my job. I don't know if Medicare will cover it or Medicare will cover it, but and I'm due here in the next year, I think. But with that insurance from my job, I was able to do that. But yes, she is going to be put under, and she does have to drink all that stuff. You know how you got to drink that stuff the day before. And then she's going to let me know when they finally contact her about what time we have to go tomorrow. It's a local hospital, so yeah, I understand, because like I said, I haven't had one. I did have they looked at my gallbladder and stuff, but I was out. So if you can get knocked out for your colonoscopy, you might be, it might be better. I don't know if they do that everywhere. like I said, I haven't had one personally. After I had gastric surgery, now they want me to get. Oh, okay. They want to make sure that all your stuff is good. Yeah. Yeah, because the complications from gastric surgery can be very, very deadly. So I get it. Yeah. Yep. So you're probably maybe having a little anxiety. Is that coming up soon? Um, but yeah, it's probably a good thing that you're getting that, especially after a gastric surgery, just to make sure all your stuff is still, where it's supposed to be. Jason has ulcerative colitis. He had colonoscopy all the time. He prefers being knocked out, but he says being awake isn't terrible. Oh, okay. So he's had both. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. She is going to be knocked out. We're going in for a procedure. She's going to go into surgery. They're not cutting her or anything, but she's going into the surgical side of things. It's not anything they can do in the office. So, yeah, February. Okay, so that is coming soon. Well, I believe everything's going to go well for you, Nay. The worst part is having to drink that stuff before the colonoscopy. The worst part, because hopefully they'll knock you out. Yeah, drinking that stuff the day or two before, that's the worst because it tastes nasty and you are not allowed to eat anything. You can just drink that stuff. I think you can have like Jello. I'm not sure. Depends on what your doctor tells you. So, yeah. And that is so cool for you to share that with us, Joe, because that helps a lot. I think, Nay, that might help you with some of the anxiety, knowing it's not too bad. Okay. Shall we check into the start our first article? So, stigma around depression is the first one. And so let's go to. So, yeah, Joe, thank you for sharing that. Let's go to here. There we go. Share screen. All right. Stigma and depression, what it's all about. So I know that since COVID that people are more open about their mental health journeys, which is very good. But there's still a lot of people, old school, that don't believe you need it or don't believe it's real or think you're just faking it and stuff like that. So there is still a lot of stigma around anxiety and depression. And so the only way that I can think of to fight the stigma is to do these lives, is to talk about it. Because basically it's ignorance, a lack of education about mental health. I believe that's why people think the way that they do. And also when you're you seem like kind of a normal person, which I basically do, especially to people I don't know. They don't see the full crystal experience. When they find out that I do have mental health issues and I do take medication, sometimes that can influence them. It doesn't change their mind. People are who they are, but at least they can see that the reason I seem normal is because I take medications. In the past, I've had doctors that even thought mental health wasn't that important. Very frustrating. Absolutely. It's the number one most important. Our brains control our entire bodies, and that's where our mental health is. And that's the thing. the stigma comes from, I'm sure, way back when they just put people who they thought were crazy in hospitals and medicated them and did testing on them and things like that. Hey, Robin, how are you doing? So good to see you. Today we're talking about depression and its stigmas. And how is the weather where you're at? I have great doctors now. Yes. Yes. And you know the struggle is real. It took forever to get the great doctors, and I'm the same way. It took me a long time to get those. I'm doing pretty good, Robin. I'm doing pretty good. It's cold. Okay. Um we're just talking about, like, seasonal depression. Um if you have any questions or any concerns about what you're going through, you can let us know. And just in general, what's going on. We just want to talk it out, basically. We want to talk it out because I saw something on the news about how it's right now, it's a very seasonal affective disorder, which is depression because of the time. Last year, we found out my daughter is suffering from mental health as her mom really hurts. I don't know why she has it. Nay, and this is the part that may help you. Mental health issues. Mental health is a disease. There are not, it's not like things cause it. It's a chemical imbalance in the brain. So, as far as not knowing why she has it, it could be genetic. If you have anyone in the family who has other mental health issues, it could be, and also, if you don't know a lot about it, there could be people in your family who have mental health issues who maybe were labeled the black sheep, maybe were labeled the weird one, um, things like that. And, but there is the stigma behind it. You are not the cause of her mental health issues. It's a disease. I believe that I was born with anxiety. My dad was a big time anxiety sufferer, undiagnosed, untreated. He was an alcoholic. And the more I read about anxiety, the more I realize that when I was younger, I did have a lot of anxiety. Yes, my aunt, who always hospitalized when she goes through it. Okay, so it could be genetic, and that doesn't mean that everybody that has the gene will have mental health issues, but it just means that that she has whatever genetic predisposition is to that. But since I'm guessing she's younger. I'm not sure how old she is, Nay. It is awesome that you have gotten her diagnosed. That is going to help her so much. And believing her when she is depressed. Listening to her is a big thing. Listening. Don't try to give a lot of advice. She's 26. She's still young, though. Listening to her, believing her, and helping her in any way you can will go further than anything. And since you're her mom, that's very important. I wish I had been diagnosed at 26. I was in my, let's see, I was in my late 30s when I was diagnosed. So I had a lot of issues through my whole life that just thought was personality stuff, But I ended up having this chemical imbalances in my brain that I cannot control. Herbs don't work for it. I've tried all different types of meditation, things like that. Not good at the meditation. Those help, but in order to be able to function as a human being and get off the couch, I had to be medicated. So, listening is the biggest help to me. Knowing someone is there for me and believes me has been the greatest help. Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely. Believing someone. My sister had fibromyalgia, and everybody's like, well, she just, lazy, blah, blah, blah. But I believed her, and believing her was important to me. And I like to think that it helped. It brought us closer for sure. And she was eventually diagnosed, and my family is not as open about mental health as I am, older people, old school, blah, blah, all that stuff. So I try to educate them when they say things like blah, blah, she, blah, blah. And I'll be like, no, that is not the case. This is what's going on, and this is what you need to understand. So a little bit, my family's getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better as time goes on. But we kind of have to, even though it shouldn't be our job, we have to educate our family about our illnesses. Listening. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because someone listening to me helped me as well. And for me, that was a good therapist, a good psychiatrist, which took a while to find, by the way. I was diagnosed before I was actually helped. So I was diagnosed with it, and they kept trying to medicate with me with all these different things. None of them worked. So I decided to go outside my city, go to a bigger city, and find someone to help me. And they were able to help me find the medication that worked for me, not trying all this new stuff. They put me on one of the older medications that has been proven. It worked for me right away. And then just having somebody listen, having a good therapist listen and help me was great. So now that's why I like to do the lives. And when I'm with people who say things like that, because again, like I was saying, when they see me, they don't see mental health issues, but they may talk about things like that in front of me, and I will say, well, no, that's not true. I take medication for depression. What you need to understand is blah, blah, blah. So unfortunately, we still have to educate our family and friends, and be loud and proud about our mental health, which is hard. I know that's hard. So, yeah, Nay, just being here talking about it hopefully is going to help you, and will help her as well. Any questions you have, feel free to ask. There are no stupid questions here. My oldest daughter doesn't understand. She always arguing with her. I explained to her what is happening. And that could be some kind of your oldest daughter doesn't understand. Maybe in time she will. It is helping. Awesome. Awesome. Give your oldest daughter time. I don't know. I don't know your daughter, but when people don't understand, I try to correct them in a gentle way. And eventually, after you correct them several times, hopefully that is going to help. But you have to be gentle with your oldest daughter who doesn't understand mental health. I had to do the same thing. Like, it was my mom who didn't understand my sister's fibromyalgia, or even, my mental health. I had to explain it to her. And she still doesn't think she has an issue, but my mom suffers from depression as well. I see all the signs. She just is not willing to go to therapy, or anything like that. So I just keep talking to her about it, and gently talking to her about it. And so she is better with my sister now and with me. But that's the thing. I'm not a confrontational, well, maybe I am, but when people bring these things up, you have to gently, and that's the hard part, because you're like, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, my first instinct is to get angry. That's part of my genome, my makeup. I mean, my dad had a temper. My mom's got a temper. So yeah, the first thing I would do is fly off the handle. I had to learn that that is not an effective way to communicate. And trying to be gentle. And it's going to be hard. I'm going to tell you right now, Nay, it's not going to be easy to do this. This takes years and time. Like I was diagnosed in with anxiety in I think 2007. I was diagnosed with depression probably 5 years after that, so 2012. And so I have been teaching my family since 2012, and they still, there's still times. So I had to learn from 2012 till now to do the gentle thing. And it took, I got a temper. So I had to learn to squelch that and try to be, that's the only way I can describe it, gently discuss it. Because people will get angry. And I don't know the specific situation with your daughter, but hopefully over time, it's going to take time. Over time, she will get better at understanding these things. And you just, it's going to, you got to be patient. It's going to be a lifelong journey. Her mental health will be a lifelong situation. There is not a cure for mental health, for any type of disorders, depression, anxiety. There's no cure. There are medications that can help you deal with those things, but there is no cure because it's a brain disease, and the chemicals in your brain are very delicate. And so they only understand so much of the brain, but it's definitely a chemical imbalance in your brain, and it is classified as a disease. It's not just oh, I don't feel good today. When you have major depressive disorder, it's in that that book we call the DP something 5. It's in that book as a disease, and there's a diagnosis that they follow as well. So and you can always DM me with any questions, Nay. Go feel free on Instagram to DM me. It's Real Lady Electrician at Real Lady Electrician, same as this. Yeah, you're starting a journey. It's a lifelong journey. It's difficult to be patient, but hopefully getting the right doctors for her and the right help, and if she needs medications, the right medications, and that can take a while. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start the article. Where is that at? Thank you all with your help. You are so welcome, Nay. You are welcome anytime. Okay, stigma and depression, what it's all about. Okay. Depression can happen to anyone at any time. Like I said, I was in my 30s when I was diagnosed, but I've had anxiety since I was a little one. It is treatable. It is a treatable medical condition. But when stigma gets in the way, care gets delayed. Okay. Depression happens, and it happens a lot. No income level, gender, or ethnic group is spared. Even adolescents suffer from the debilitating impact of depression, but some groups, like women, are at a higher risk of depression than others. In 2020, more than 8% of adults in the U.S. experienced a major depressive episode, and 17% of adolescents 12 to 17 had a major depressive episode, a treatable medical condition. In 2020, that was around COVID. When celebrities, athletes, and other high-profile people share their mental health struggles, it makes it easier to talk about our own issues. Today, even politicians are getting real about mental health. In February 2023, U.S. Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania announced he will seek treatment for clinical depression, perhaps a sign that the culture is becoming less judgmental and more aware of mental health. Now, I do agree that it's getting better, especially with the COVID. It seems like people, a lot more people dealt with depression during the lockdown of COVID. So a lot more people are open to the idea that mental health is a disease, or that depression is a disease. And So that did help, but there is still a long way to go. A long way to go, because a lot of people who suffer from depression, like I said, are old school, and they think that if they just uh, buck up, buttercup, or just you know, be happy, get over it, blah, all the words, yeah, all those things, that they'll get better. And then in the meantime, they're dealing with depression, and it's affecting their daily lives. It's affecting their work, their home, their relationships, especially if you're married, and the other person doesn't believe or understand you're depressed, and you're in denial about it as well. So it can cause a lot of arguments, a lot of issues that way. So more knowledge about it is available, I believe. um, People are more open about it, um, more, I don't want to say more accepting, because the people that don't accept it are not more accepting. It's the people who are open and were already open are more accepting. um, so since COVID, that is a good thing. When celebrities come out, and one of my favorite celebrities is Demi Lovato, her mental health struggles, um, she's very open about it. The same with Selena Gomez. Um, and then people just taking time off for themselves. And you guys know what I think about self-care. It's not my favorite, because they're trying to say that as long as you do self-care, you'll be fine. Well, not for serious mental health conditions, but self-care is good. Don't get me wrong. It's a good thing. Um, and it can help if you have just basic, winter blues. But we're talking about clinical depression, diagnosed or undiagnosed, but the disease of depression has a lot of stigma around it. Um, and so it's getting better, but we still have a long way to go, because too many doctors don't know a lot about mental health. My doctor, and I'm not sure if she does this with everyone, or if she does this with everyone, or if it's something that the hospital makes them do. She does a little checklist every once in a while about how's my mental health, how's my depression, and things like that. So I do appreciate that, and finding good doctors it's very important, and it can sometimes be difficult. So I do not know what this is. So what is going on? Okay, something's going on here. Oh, okay. Nope. Okay, when celebrities and high profile people, um so I think people are becoming more aware of mental health, less judgmental. I'm not sure about. And another thing that I find is that if you do take medication for depression, a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, you don't have to take that forever, do you? Or you can get off that anytime." And I'm like, "No, I can't. My brain chemistry is not like yours. In order to keep my brain chemistry in a normal, so that I can function way, I have to take medications to help normalize my brain chemistry." And there are so many mental health drugs, and again, we're dealing with the brain, so sometimes it's just trial and error. But I was on one medication for a good 3 or 4 months, and it was not working at all. I mean, even taking the medication, I was crying all day. I'm like, this is not working. Oh, maybe just a little longer. Well, it was a new one. And I suspect my doctor was encouraged to prescribe it because it was new, but it wasn't working. So when I went to a different doctor in a different city, I was given something that was tried and true, that was old school, that people have used for years, and it worked instantly for me. So Um, there is that, the people pushing the medications, the pharmacies, not the pharmacies, the companies, the drug companies and things like that. But I knew it wasn't working for me, but nobody would listen. Oh, you'll be fine. Just let it keep work. Well, it says 4 to 6 weeks. It's been 4 months. So, yeah, I did go through when you get on the right medicine and find out it's 360 a month. Thank goodness my psychiatrist provides my samples every month. And that is awesome. That is awesome. Um, yeah, my husband's Latuda is like $1,000 a month. Yeah, if he doesn't have insurance. So he had to get on the generic, which is working for him. At first, it was a little bit strong, but it's working for him. The generic form that's comparable to it, but it was a brand name and it was just too expensive. So that is great if you can get the samples from your psychiatrist. And those are provided by the drug companies, which is good. This one doctor just would not try anything else. They're like, you just keep taking it. And I'm like, why? It's not working. It's automatically going to kick in after 4 months. And I just switched doctors. I was tired of dealing with it. So, yeah. Yeah. So that's great, Joe, that you can get the samples. That's really good. So the pharmaceutical companies are not all bad. For some reason, this doctor kept pushing this one medicine and it wasn't working for me. And oops, I forgot to turn my face light on. Can you guys see me? It's not that much better. There we go. So, yeah, I don't know why the doctor would not try something else after that amount of time. I don't know. But I went to a different doctor because I had discussed it with this doctor several times. And I'm like, the doctor's not listening to me. I can't go back to work. I can't sit on my couch every day, all day, just bawling. Even with taking this medication, it's just not working for me. So I did switch doctors. So, what was that? Oh, I was going to go back to the page, read a little more. Okay. One expert, Terry Brister, PhD, blah, 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 research report, blah, blah, says we still got a long way to go. And I agree with that. NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Health. That's a good website to go to as well. Stigma and self-stigma is still alive and well. As a result, people don't consider their mental health first. They're more apt to ascribe their difficulties to anything besides a mood disorder. They say, maybe I have a thyroid disorder, maybe I'm just tired. Unfortunately, this approach translates into a long lag between the onset of symptoms and to get diagnosed and treated. Far too many people with depression try and tough it out without ever getting help. That, combined with the difficulty in assessing mental health treatment and lack of affordability, means the large numbers of people struggle on their own. So, yeah, we were just talking about the affordability part. And that is really tough when you do have the right medication, finally, and then it's so expensive. The one that I had, like I said, was a tried and true. It's called Lexapro. And I have the generic for it. It's been around for a long time and it works for me. Now, the thing about mental health meds is our brains, again, they don't know a lot about our brains. I got rid of a doctor years ago for that reason. Yeah, ours was awful, telling someone the medicine didn't work. and they're telling me I'm wrong. I can't be wrong about my brain. I'm the one feeling it. Exactly, Joe. I told her so many times, or the doctor, I didn't want to say her, him, so many times. I didn't understand. The only thing I could think of was this was something that she was um, promoting. I don't know. Why would she not listen to me? Unless they told her that it could take 6 months. And I'm like, I'm not willing to wait 6 months on my couch with this drug that's not working. And I'm telling her it's not working. It's not working. And yeah, yeah. And I'm the one that's feeling it. I'm the one that every day is getting up, sitting on the couch for 8 hours, not doing anything. And then and when you're depressed, I don't know if you've ever had this happen. I would sit on the couch and watch TV. And then the next thing I know, my husband would be home from work and I would be like, he's been gone for 6, 7 hours. And I didn't even realize it. I was so just in my head with the racing thoughts and the brain fog and all the things. Yeah. And she's telling me, oh, stay on it. And I'm like, you know what? She's not listening. I'm just going to go to someone else. Someone not in this medical group, someone in a bigger city where maybe they deal with mental health more than in my small town, my small city. And that's what I did. I went to the bigger city and found somebody to help me. That was the only thing I could think to do, you know, is when you're in that kind of space, you're desperate to feel better. It is, it is, it is a difficult, it's difficult to go through that. But I am better for it. I did find a doctor to help me. I am doing much better. And you're right. You're the one feeling it. Why aren't they listening? My doctor now, she listens to everything I tell her. She answers my questions. If there's something that she doesn't know about, like I might say, like I wanted to talk to her about that weight loss drug. I'm not interested in taking it, but I'm going to ask her questions about it because I take Trulicity and the weight loss drug is called Wegovy, which started as a diabetes drug, and now they have all these other ones. But I've been hearing this weight loss, those things that you take for weight loss that help you. If you stop taking them, you just gain the weight back. So, hey, hey Tracy, how are you doing today? It's good to see you. Today we're talking about depression and the stigma. How are you doing? How are things going? Um, let's see. Okay. Um, so yeah, I don't know why they won't listen to us. And that was I've always felt like, you know how a lot of people think that what the doctor says is that's it. That's what it is. They don't get a second opinion, things like that. I've never been one of those people. I think I was just born a questioner. Why this? Why that? Kind of a thing. I was one of those kids that was like, why? And my mom was like, because that's why. Because I said why. Because I said so, and things like that. But I was a questioning kid. I've always been like that. So I don't take the doctor's word 100% since that happened to me. Maybe before that, I was more apt to listen to the doctor, but once I went through that depression and I had so much trouble, um, I've been like, you have to be your own advocate. You have to you have to do your research, due diligence, whatever you want to call it, on what medicines you're taking, what things you have. Like I have an underactive thyroid. I have to do research on that. I get tested regularly. Um, the diabetes was 2018 was when I was diagnosed with that. And so I do my research on those type of things. The kidney thing, research, you have to, like, the doctor's going to do what they know, but maybe there's something they don't know. I don't know everything. That's why I research. So they're human beings as well. They're not gods, even though, some of them maybe think they are. They're human beings and they are fallible. And I have had several doctors that have, things have happened that I'm not super trusting of doctors. Now, I don't dislike them or distrust all of them, but I will question. I will get a second opinion. I will do my research. I will ask questions. And those are things that we all can do and should do. So, how are you doing today, Tracy? How is the weather? I know you're all the way overseas, but I don't know if it's not winter. Where is it winter where you're at too? You're in Ireland, I believe. Am I correct? If I'm wrong, just tell me I'm wrong. So, again, I don't know everything. Um, you can see, and I can see it here. It's driving me nuts that, oh, this one's got a sticker on it though. But like this, it's been healing. It was much worse, but I have been picking a little bit, and you know, since I've been cooped up in the house, but I've been trying to do more. I have projects, and so I'm actually trying to do the projects, right? Not just buy the stuff for the projects. -4. Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. Cold, cold, cold. Yeah, we have the same kind of temperatures here today as well in Michigan. So, yeah, and everybody's having weird weather through the United States as well. Okay, let's go ahead and read some more. Stigma around depression. What causes stigma around depression? I think we know. Negative views about mental health or about mental illness have a long history as far back as 6,500 BC. Trephination, surgical drilling of holes in skulls, was a common way to allow evil spirits being trapped within the skull to be released. During the Middle Ages, the mentally ill were thought to be possessed by the devil as a punishment from God and were burned at the stake or thrown into madhouses. Things got better over time. An investigation of trends in public stigma, published in JAMA around mental illness over a 22-year period from 96 to 2018, reveals less rejection of people with depression, but negative views towards schizophrenia and alcohol dependence continue to persist. The ongoing stigmatization of people with mental health disorders, even though people with depression are viewed more sympathetically, is multifactorial. The media is partly to blame. The Daily News often features accounts of crime suspects struggling with schizophrenia or other mental illnesses, especially dissociative identity disorder or bipolar disorder. Horror movies and other controversial programming exploit the stereotypes and perpetuate the notion that people with serious mental illnesses are violent, dangerous, or evil. Some media, such as the movie The Skeleton Twins, I may have to look that up. I've never seen that movie, reflect depression accurately. Lack of knowledge, lack of interest, and lack of compassion foster these myths and misconceptions. Many wrongly believe that people with mental illness aren't to function in daily life, are incapable of making a living, lack interpersonal skills, and are unkempt. In many families, depression and other mental illnesses are looked upon as something shameful. People with depression are perceived as weak and told to buck up and stop feeling sorry for yourself. Statements like this shame and discourage people from seeking treatment. Depression is a medical condition. Like the body, the brain can also get sick. All right. So media has a part to play. History has a huge part to play. Um, And also, like they were saying in some families, um, it's shame. It's a people are ashamed of it. That's one thing that you have to really get over. Yeah, because there's no shame in it. You didn't cause it. You didn't ask for it. You didn't want it. The imbalance in your brain, the chemical imbalance, happened. So, okie dokie. It's 2:26. Okay, so we can keep reading. Let's see the 7 types of stigmas. It's important to remember that stigma doesn't just impact those with mental illness, it affects the caregivers too. NAMI lists 7 types of stigma. Number 1, self stigma refers to negative attitudes that people hold about their own condition. Thoughts about being less than, not worthwhile, or different are often prevalent. Men and individuals who are supposed to be strong, such as police officers, firefighters, and military personnel, experience a huge amount of self stigma. Brister explains while everyone has blue days, it is important to know when a down mood has shifted from something passing to a depression that is disrupting your life and to not let internalized shame prevent you from seeking help. And that's a big thing in my family. Um, I believe that mental health or the mental illness stuff goes way back past my dad to his family and my mom to her family. It was undiagnosed, and it was shameful to admit that you had it back in those times in the 40s, 50s, 60s, those type of things. Um, Hello, Brandy. How are you doing? How are your chicks? I hope they're doing okay. Mm-mm-mm. So yeah, self stigma. That is the one that probably hurts us most and keeps us from getting help most. Is the self stigma, the internalized, well, if I have this problem, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm just not enough. Growing fast, have more an incubator about to go on lockdown in 4 days. Oh, okay. We're talking today about depression, this time of year, the weather, um, just the cold, the cloudiness, the lack of sun, you know, chickens and chicks help me with my depression and anxiety better than a dog. And cuter, right? So cute. Pets really do help a lot. I think most of us have pets here. I have my 2 cats. I had 3 dogs at one time and 2 cats, and then now I have 2 two-year-old kittens. That's all that's left. But we had them from we all of our pets mostly were from when they were puppies and kittens, and then I had 3 rescues. Yeah, the pets really, really help so much. And that's why now the service dogs, the what is that called? The emotional support dogs. They were kind of like, yeah, whatever, blah. But now emotional support dogs are starting to get the same, respect as a service dog. They're both helpers. They're both important. And I guess I have service chickens. Hello. I think you do, Brandy. I think you do. And I think that that's a thing. Any kind of animal that brings you comfort and helps you, I believe, is a service animal. Yeah. You're so funny. You must be feeling pretty good today. That's awesome. So, yeah. So the stigma, our self-stigma is one of the worst. That might be why they put it at number 1. That's us telling ourselves, get over it. And we've probably heard it as well, but in our brains, the self-talk, not good. So let's see, what's number 2? Public stigma. Societal and discriminatory attitudes and beliefs characterize public stigma. The nature and visibility of the illness and its severity affect the level of stigma. Research shows that in general, people feel others with schizophrenia more than someone dealing with depression. And I agree with that because schizophrenia is a difficult disease. My husband has a cousin who is schizophrenic, and and you know, uh, he's older. Like, we're in our 50s, so he's in his 60s, but he doesn't take his medications, and he is scary to be around. But the people that do take their medications and that do have support and that, do what they're supposed to do, um, are just like me and you. But I do understand that, and it is difficult. It is very difficult to deal with that in the family, because before he was diagnosed, he was just like that weird kid. So it was good for him to get a diagnosis. But another thing about schizophrenia is that they'll take the medications and feel fine, and then if the medications start to be ineffective, or just for whatever reason, the disease progresses, they'll stop taking their medications, and then they'll get worse. That is something that happens with all people, with all mental health issues. I'm fine, I don't need that. And then you don't take it, and then you start to become depressed, and you're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just, a little sad. I don't need that medicine. Well, I do. So when people tell me I don't, I always tell them, you really would not like me if I didn't take my medication. I'm just saying. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. The fan is helping. It's a air filter, but it's cold. I was told years ago I can't take anything else because of a bad reaction to Paxil. What's Paxil, Brandy? Sorry about that, you guys. Oh, it's a depression meds. They said it will have same thing. No, that is not true. The doctor that told you that was incorrect. So there are so many different medications. It's not like one medicine helps depression. There are so many different types. Like, Paxil has a different medication than Latuda or Lexapro. Now, you wouldn't want to take anything that is similar to Paxil. You would have a bad reaction. But there are so many other medicines, right? You need to try a different doctor. Right? Because my medication for depression is not the same as my husband's, but they both do the same. They both help us be functioning people. You know what I mean? Sorry about that. If you have a doctor, I would mention your depression and I would tell them that you had a bad reaction to Paxil. They need to know that for sure, because you don't want to take something that's like that and have the same reaction. But if that doctor tells you, well, then you can't take anything else, they are incorrect. There are so many different medications and different types, like a serotonin reuptake inhibitor is not the same as a norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor, which is not the same as, a bunch of other things. I take both of those. So, excuse me. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm sorry, everybody. I took all my medicines. I'm going to leave this thing running, so hopefully next week we won't have this problem. This doc prescribed me something I'm allergic to, so not sure if he will listen. Okay. It is in the same family as sulfa. Oh, I can't take sulfa drugs either, but I have mental health drugs that do not interact and that I take fine. But yeah. Mine is sulfa's antibiotics mostly. I think I have to take what's that called? It's the one that everybody wanted during COVID. But if you can take penicillin and stuff, you don't need it. Is it Celexa? It's an antibiotic and it starts with a C. So that's the one that I have to take when I need an antibiotic. But I haven't had to have an antibiotic in a long time, except for when I have procedures. I used to get bronchitis all the time, and they would give me an antibiotic for that. So I haven't had that in many years. Since I left the steel mill, actually, since 2018. So, and sinus infections. I used to get sinus infections real bad too. I'm so sorry for the coughing. I'm so sorry. I need to leave the air cleaner on, but it's cold, you guys. It's cold. So I'm going to leave it on. I'm going to freeze a little bit. We've only got like 20 minutes left. So for abscesses. Okay. They gave me that one real common one that they give for clindamycin. Is that it? When they give when you get your teeth done. Because when I was getting them cleaned and stuff before I lost my insurance, it's in the thing. I don't remember what it was, but it's the one that you hear about a lot. Amoxicillin, maybe. It's not a penicillin though. So anyway, the stigma behind all the let's see what the next one is. Institutional or structural stigma. Institutional or structural stigma is more systemic. When government programs that help those with mental illnesses aren't funded adequately. Institutional stigma may be the reason why. Another example is a private sector business that has fewer opportunities or services for people with mental health challenges. Now, institutional, I take amoxicillin. Okay, so I do take, I think that's what they gave me for my teeth. So institutional stigma That does affect any type of government programs you have. If they don't, they're like, so we want to fund defense, we want to fund education, but we don't care about mental health. Fortunately for me, there is a really good program here. I haven't utilized it yet, but I do plan on it, especially in the wintertime here. It's a peer-to-peer, like what we're doing here. It's a peer-to-peer counseling, and it's free. So, and it's through one of the services that I use as a retired person with disabilities. And so I'm basically talking to someone who's been trained, not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or just trained and has life experience with the same issues that I do. And again, I haven't done it yet, but when I do, I will do a live on it, because I'm also interested in if it does help me and maybe participating in the peer-to-peer training as well. So we'll see how that goes. But that is through the government. That is so there are some things that are working better now because they are putting more money into mental health. But again, we still have a long way to go. We still have we have to do our due diligence. Okay, this is one we've already been talking about. Health practitioner stigma. Unbelievably, even some clinicians allow their skewed perceptions of mental illness to negatively affect a patient's care, or to treat those patients in a demeaning manner. I'm sorry. And we've already talked about that. If that happens to you, get a different doctor. If your doctor acts like you don't have a problem, if they don't want to help you, if they don't want to listen to you about your mental health, get a different doctor. I am really sorry, guys. I know back here it looks like it's all okay, but there's so much stuff down here. So I've been working in my bedroom, getting things organized, and so maybe I need to, after I'm done in there, I need to come here instead of, I was going to work my way from one end to the other, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. So that really, really worries me as well. With the doctors, that really, really worries me, because how many people are getting doctors that don't believe they have a problem or don't think it's important, and they're not able to get the help that they need. That really, really makes me sad. So, okay. Perceived stigma. Perceived stigma is the belief that others hold negative views of people with mental illness. The result is intended or unintended loss of opportunity. Stigma by association is when negative perceptions are extended to include those who are linked to a person with a mental health disorder. Now, that is something that we can absolutely combat. Like I said, I have several family members who have issues and things. And so if someone says anything negative, I try to gently, not always gently, but I try to address that stigma at that time. Have you ever had depression? If you haven't, then you really shouldn't speak on it. You shouldn't speak about this family member because you don't understand. And it is a disease. And, it's just like heart disease. It's a disease you're going to have for the rest of your life. You're going to do the best that you can to get through it and live life. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't believe it is a disease. So stigma by association. Just because I hang out with people who have mental health issues, then I'm some kind of a weirdo. Well, you can call me all the names you want to, but I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so tired of this. This, even just trying to go out in public and do something, it's very, very sorry. Very sorry. Okay, let's continue. Label avoidance. Label avoidance is when a person or a parent avoids seeking medical care to avoid being assigned a negative label or being perceived in a certain way. We really got to get over caring what people think or say about us. Because what you think or say about me is none of my business. Let's see. This can be particularly damaging to children with depression or who are suffering from untreated disorders, such as depression, anxiety, or OCD. Wear that label proudly. My son or daughter has anxiety, and we're helping them. If you love them, you're going to help them, not hide the disease and leave them going through the trauma and the difficulty and make them feel like they're alone. I know a lot of parents, and I don't know any parents that would do that to their children. That's just me. So, all right. The impact of stigma. Self-stigma can lead to people having low expectations for themselves, a poor self-image, and despair about their place in the world. It may prevent them from seeking treatment, causing a cascade of other problems such as poor housing, unemployment, poverty, and chronic medical problems. So the stigma causes the depression or anxiety or whatever the person has to become worse because no one believes you, or they think you're making it up, or whatever the case may be, but that can make your depression worse. Okay. It can also lead to righteous anger against stigmatization, empowering people to strive for a good life and become proactive in their treatment and in advocacy. Those who feel stigmatized by a mental illness diagnosis are better able to manage their feelings about it if they have the acceptance and love of a supportive circle of family, friends, and mental health professionals. I will amen to that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oops. Let me put back here. Okay. For some, stigma and discrimination can, however, be a major obstacle to recovery, impacting quality of life while also affecting family members of the ill person, social avoidance, in which people interact less with those with mental illness and even their relatives. It's not uncommon, particularly in more severe psychiatric conditions. Stigma is especially an issue in some racial and ethnic communities, and it can get in the way of people seeking help. In some Asian cultures, for example, getting professional help goes against the ingrained values of emotional restraint and keeping shameful secrets within the family. In 2019, a national poll conducted by the American Psychiatric Association found that mental health stigma is still rampant in the workplace. About half of employees in the surgery were concerned about discussing depression and other disorders at work. Individuals may be afraid to utilize employee assistance program or health insurance through the workplace, which is supposed to be confidential, for fear that management or supervisors will find out. Addressing and reducing stigma. Okay, so let's see. It's 2:51. Hi, everyone. Been cleaning my office, updating, and a deep cleaning. Hey, Wilma, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. So how are you feeling today? I know that your weather is probably not good either. I'm doing okay. I was feeling just this depression and the stigma. I saw something on the news, and I was just feeling in my heart like I needed to talk about that today. Oh, sunny and nice out today. Wow, that is awesome. Yeah. No, it's about 0, or it might be like 4 degrees right now outside, and we're supposed to get some more snow Thursday and Friday. So I'm glad you're doing well. It does help a lot if you can get a chance to actually organize and clean. I'm noticing that that's really helping a lot. Just with my mental state, when you get something cleaned out and organized, it feels good, right? It feels real good. Yeah. So I have been doing some of that, a little bit at a time. I'm not trying to get sore or overwhelmed. Been a rough start, but getting back to myself. That's great, Wilma. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. So we got 7 minutes left. Let's see. Let's go ahead and read some more. We're talking about depression and stigma today, how stigma can affect us getting help, the kind of help we're needing. And we're at the part in the article about addressing and reducing stigma. Okay. Excuse me. According to the APA, research shows that knowing someone with mental health challenges is the best way to lessen stigmatizing attitudes. What else can be done to help? Be aware of the power of language. Remember the mantra from childhood: sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never harm me. It's not true. An individual is more than their illness. I agree. Words can hurt, and sometimes people know the words that will hurt you most, the people closest to you. Use person-centered speech. Say person with schizophrenia instead of describing someone as a schizophrenic. Don't say someone is a drug addict. Say the person is struggling with a substance use disorder. Words matter. Now, that will be hard to remember, but I do try to use better language. Compare physical and mental illnesses. People tend to be less judgmental about someone with heart disease or arthritis than with a mental health disorder. Pointing this out helps normalize mental health. Support and help publicize initiatives that educate others about mental illness. News outlets, websites, movies, and other forms of media sometimes depict mental health realistically and with compassion. NAMI's In Our Own Voice initiative is intended to change attitudes and assumptions about mental illness. Visit the website for short videos of people who lived experience, sharing their powerful, often painful stories of struggle and resilience. Videos like this help humanize the experience. Okay. Go back here. My cat decided she wanted to play, so we're playing while on here. We were talking about how great pets are for your mental health as well. So, yes, keep playing with that kitty cat. They do help, don't they? I notice if I talk too much to inhale and it gets my throat gets scratchy. All right. Okay. Another helpful initiative is, oops, did I put it so you can see the article? Let me make sure I did. Yeah. Deconstructing Stigma, Changing Attitudes About Mental Health, an award-winning international public awareness campaign. Be on the lookout for inspiring accounts of people around the world struggling with depression and other mental health issues displayed in public spaces such as train stations and airport. When people in the public eye, like superstar tennis champ Serena Williams, who share their struggle with postpartum depression, talk openly about their struggles, it's enormously helpful because it sends the message that mental health is something that can happen to anyone. Postpartum depression, other perinatal mental health disorders are particularly clouded with shame because of societal expectations that new mothers with healthy babies should be ecstatic. The reality is, life can be tough, people are vulnerable, and depression and other mental health disorders are nothing to be ashamed of. Usually, a combination of therapy and antidepressant medication can relieve symptoms of depression. Don't let the fear of stigma stand in the way of you getting the help you need. So that was a good article. I like that. She found a string. I went to throw it away. Right. I've got a couple things for Christmas for the cats. So they enjoy boxes and little twist ties. They would rather play with those than actually what they got for Christmas. Yeah. Although I did get them a tunnel. They love that tunnel. Let's see. Yeah. I got my kitties a tunnel and they love running through it. So, yeah. All right. So we finished one article. Yeah, Christmas bows and paper. Oh, the paper. Yeah, they love that. Yeah. All right. So thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. And as always, you help me just as much as I help you. Hey, Frugal Mama, how you doing today? We're getting ready to wrap it up. But I think this was important today to talk about the stigma. And I don't know. I think that's all I have for today. And so it's 3:00. I will see you guys next week. And we may go ahead and finish another one of the order or another one of the articles about depression just through January. I'm glad, Frugal Mama, that you're doing good. Yeah. Love you too, Wilma. You guys have a great week, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye, everybody. Bye.